How we doing, everybody? Welcome back. I'm doing another sugar beet harvest video hanging out in the truck, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the restructuring of the channel somewhat, and kind of just put out some thoughtfulness for this video. So I've mixed this channel up a little bit from EDC, knives, leatherwork, and talked here and there about my life or the human condition, stuff like that in the past. So to continue that, I want to change the channel around and shift some part of it that way and push the other half, or I should say not push it, but keep one half the same the way that it is. So I'm going to be covering probably a broad thing, but basically this is just going to be a long-winded journal of mine, sort of. And if it helps somebody else and we get to look at some cool stuff every once in a while, I think that that's pretty spot on for my personality, I guess. So anyway, that's where I'm kind of headed with the channel. I think with the time that I do have lately, I've been able to kind of think about what I wanted to do with it and what direction I want to take it. So that's the deal. Now, to go on to the thoughtfulness of this episode, I thought earlier I wanted to do a video about 5 things I learned in my 20s, and it came out okay, but it just didn't quite capture what I wanted it to. It seemed like I covered too much in too short a time. So with this, I just want to focus on one aspect. And one thing I wanted to cover was that less is more. And that's like such a simple statement, and that's very obvious for a lot of folks, I think. Like minimalist activity and minimalist style is kind of trendy, and it's like it shouldn't have to be, because I think it's just like a very good nature. And I think about that because of my lifestyle, where my wife and I have jumped into a camper and started traveling the entire Western United States up and down now for 2 years. And you know, when you do that kind of thing, you can't take everything with you. We still have a lot of possessions and things back home and stored with some family and stuff. My main thing with that is that the more that we've gone on, we started collecting stuff again, even though we had left so much. And when we had first started this, we were conscientious of the fact that we had collected so much crap and we didn't use half of it, and it was just like, you know, it stared you right in the face basically. And we were like super happy to have gotten down and dropped things again. And now it seems like we've just kind of recognize the space again that we have and are starting to do a similar deal. So lately we've talked about it, and you know, we will do a kind of inventory of everything that we have and just kind of like pile through it and be like, okay, have we used this, have we worn it, etc., etc. And I can't tell you the freedom it feels when you just declutter your life and just get rid of stuff that you really don't use, really don't need, and just get basic again, you know. So, you know, one of the reasons I even got into the EDC stuff is because I've always had like a somewhat of a collector mindset in my hobbies and such, but I've had larger items and stuff like that. But with the knives and the smaller things, I mean, I've got it condensed down to like a little, it's in like basically a little plastic tray. It's out of the way, it doesn't hinder our life, you know, as far as anything else. So that was kind of one thing that got me into the hobby, was that it was a small based hobby of items, and you know, it didn't impact a lot of stuff. So, you know, I didn't set out to collect anything at all, but this kind of is how it went, I guess. Anyway, what I'm trying to do with this message though is just to make a mindful thought that if you have, you know, a consumerist attitude, it can get crazy really quick. And I touched on this before with a video of mine a while back, where I said about if you were on your deathbed, you know, would you be really happy with all that crap that you collected all your life? Or would you be happier, you know, going out and experiencing stuff and not having much baggage, basically. And it just kind of circles back around to that, because it's something that you almost have to remind yourself of when you have a world and a society that constantly is pushing stuff at you all the time, like 24/7. Even if you don't have a cell phone and you put the radio on, constant commercials, ads, blah blah blah. I mean, if you put it on television, it's even worse. Me and her, we won't pay for a ad-free subscription just because of our lifestyle. We are off and on again with our services and such. So like, you know, we do enjoy television once in a while, but it's like, you can't be expected to pay $15-20 a month, it seems like, just to not have ads. Like, that's just crazy to me. Like, we used to be a country. You know what I'm saying? And it's just gotten so out of hand where you just can't look in any direction without something's getting pushed and pushed and pushed constantly. And I get it, you know, it's, if you're running a business, you're selling that product, totally get it. That's your livelihood, whatever. I just wish it wasn't such a dire thing in the media and everything these days. It just drives me insane, you know? And I fall victim to it super easily, just like anybody else would, you know? It's like, you think, you're like, oh no, they're trying to get me, they're not gonna get me. And then you turn around and you're like, dang it, my Amazon cart is full, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Or in my case, the cats need something, you know, they need food, or they need this or that, you know, that's more of a necessity, but you get the point. So it's like, it's just always there, you know what I'm saying? I guess it's always kind of been that way. Maybe I'm just realizing it more and more and trying to be proactive against it, I suppose. But it's just something that's been on my mind lately, some stuff like that. I made a bunch of other points in that other video I'd made, but I don't think it's something I want to put out there just yet. Feels like a rough draft, you know? So I'm gonna potentially, maybe I'll read one off here. So, yeah, okay, so this actually goes into a point. One of the things I had talked about in the other video that I deleted was instant gratification these days is insane, and that's like a part of the consumerism. Like, the instant gratification is on another level this day and age, because everything is at a push of a button. If you're hungry, you can go on your cell phone, download an app, and then have somebody deliver it for you, you know, in the matter of like an hour in most major cities and stuff like that. If you need something that is unattainable in your area, and I will say that this is kind of an advantage, but like for instance, in Hawaii, to get any goods there is very difficult for those people. I've talked to them before when I was on vacation, and the fact that Amazon exists is a good and bad thing, I guess, but for the most part, it's a good benefit there. However, in the normal everyday circumstance, it's just too easy to click a button and send a new toaster, I mean, whatever, clothes, tools, I mean, obviously the knives, anything like that. It's too easy. You know, I still remember a time, which, you know, isn't really that long ago, but for me growing up, people would still walk into a store, pick up an item, check it out, you know, and actually purchase the thing with cash, not with a card even, you know, and then walk on through their day. This day and age, it's like you can have your card hooked up to your phone, you could be clicking on everything, and just before you know it, your credit card debt is loaded, and you know, you've got all this useless junk that you actually can't even return, can't use, or you know, you realize you don't need, like I said in the earlier part of this video. And it just like blows my mind. And the main reason I think that I capture this more is because our lifestyle is, you know, we have an address at the moment, right, at this current place that we're at for this harvest, but on a normal basis, we're out in the middle of nowhere with no address, unless it's a friend's or something. We're not going to have any access to that stuff for, you know, weeks or months at a time sometimes. So when you're away like that, you just make do with what you have, and it's just that simple, you know. You can get a lot more crafty and creative and have a lot more self-control in that situation than you realize. I mean, it's helped me immensely when we get to go away and kind of be like off grid for a couple weeks. It's usually a large benefit for me. And I'm, like I said, this is something I struggle with. So I'm in a phase right now, and something I hope to keep as a permanent change, obviously. But anyway, I'm gonna have some coffee real quick. Just wanted to talk a little bit about that, and I've got some other points that I want to probably get out in a different video. This one's going on about 10 minutes. That's like my sweet spot. I usually don't like to make them too much longer than that. So anyway, thanks for letting me sit here and ramble, I guess. If you watch this, I appreciate it. You know, do the liking and the commenting and the subscribing if you want to. You don't have to. But this is a direction I'm going to take the channel a little bit, and hopefully just kind of see where it goes. Maybe it'll just be like a personal journal for me, you know, like an online thing to look back at, you know, and remind myself, stuff like that. That's another reason I like to do these. But all right, y'all be good. I'll see you in the next one. Enjoy your evening or your day or your morning. Could be any time, I guess, when you're watching this. So all right, later.